From San Francisco, California, this is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is August 23rd, 2016, when I'm recording this show. That was a show open that I probably have never played before. That's Joe Klein. I got him to record that for me several years back. That's a takeoff on the original show open for Rock and Roll Geek Show. It used to be from San Francisco, California, this is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I did that over the Rock and Roll Butler music, which is by a band called The Upper Crust, and I got Joe Klein to do the show open. I'll play it one more time.
From San Francisco, California, this is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
There you go. All right. Why am I saying that? No reason. Just a little back history. Today is day 20 or 21 of the Dog Days of Podcasting. I forget. I'm going to say it's day 21. And on this day, back in 1949, I believe, 67 years ago today, one of my favorite musicians in the entire world was born today. He was born Richard Springthorpe in Australia, Guildford, South Wales, Australia. I think that's where he was born, somewhere in Australia. And he later changed his name to Rick Springfield. I am one of the biggest Rick Springfield fans on the face of the earth. Happy 67th birthday to Rick Springfield. By the way, I'm driving to Featherwitch practice, so this is the only time I have to do a show, and I figure I would talk a little bit about one of my favorite artists, Rick Springfield. Just went over the Golden Gate Bridge too, by the way. Still a beautiful bridge, even though I don't like being in the traffic. I expect to be at Featherwitch practice in about an hour. The practice is brutal going through here. So like I said, I am a huge Rick Springfield fan. My old band American Heartbreak actually was on a Rick Springfield tribute record, a song called Human Touch. I'm going to play a little bit of that. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put that in the background while I'm talking about Rick Springfield. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Now, can I turn it down? Yeah, I think I can. I'm actually going to turn it down here. I've always been a huge Rick Springfield fan. You know Rick Springfield by one of the catchiest songs ever written, and probably one of the most karaoke songs ever done, Jesse's Girl. But the guy had so many more great songs than just Jesse's Girl. First time I ever saw Rick Springfield, actually, I was not live. I was at a B.B. Buell gig. I became kind of friends with B.B. Buell after I had her on the Rock and Roll Geek Show, and she was performing down in L.A. and we drove, my wife and me and my daughter drove down to L.A. to see B.B. Buell perform. She was doing a record release for her new album or something like that, and in the crowd was Rick Springfield, and I got super starstruck, man. I was just like, whoa, my God, that is Rick Springfield. I've told these stories on the Rock and Roll Geek Show before, so if you're a regular Rock and Roll Geek friend, bear with me. If you're a new listener just because of the Dog Days of Podcasting, this you probably never heard of. So I saw Rick Springfield walking around in the crowd at the B.B. Buell show, and I just said, oh my God, that's Rick Springfield. I was absolutely starstruck, man. Then I saw him live at the Alameda County Fair, probably about 4 years ago. It was fantastic. In the crowd were, I'm going to guess, 98% middle-aged women. and probably another 2%, well, 95% middle-aged women, about 3% younger girls, who were probably the daughters of the middle-aged women, and 2% men, all women. It was fantastic. It was such a great show. I left that place smiling and thinking, man, this is one of the funnest shows I've ever been to. And it didn't even cost me anything because I was at the Alameda County Fair anyway. Such a great show. Then I saw him again. He did an Unplugged show. He did like a VH1 Storytellers type thing. Unplugged at a place called Yoshi's in San Francisco. It was fantastic. He just talked and played songs acoustic. Really fun. He has an audiobook out of his life story, which is a great audiobook. He reads it. It's really got some good stories, man. That guy got so many so many girls on the road, and this book is chock full of those kind of stories. Really entertaining, and the guy has kind of a self-effacing humor, which I guess if you're as good looking as Rick Springfield, you can kind of make fun of yourself. But the guy is a way underrated songwriter. Let me turn off Human Touch. Okay, let me give him back to me. The guy is a way underrated songwriter. He's got so many catchy tunes, and he's got a new album out called Rocket Science, which is a good album. I think I rated it on the Rock and Roll Geek scoring system either a 9 or a 9.5 out of 12 or 13. The highly unscientific but extremely accurate Rock and Roll Geek scoring system. Then I saw him recently in Saratoga. My friend Ralph Miller, friend of the show, got me a free ticket, and I went down, and the tickets were like, this place held like 1,200 people, and tickets were, for good seats, tickets were like $150. And then general admission, which was the ticket that Ralph Miller got me, was, I don't know, it was probably $20 or something, or $30. Ralph Miller gave it to me free, and the general admission section was right next to the $150 seats, or however, $200 seats, whatever. So I got there early and I brought in my Yeti knockoff tumbler, which, by the way, I have right now full of iced tea. Not drinking and driving, although I do have a cooler full of beer. So I brought in my Yeti tumbler, and my Yeti knockoff tumbler, actually, the RTIC, or the Ozark Trail from Walmart. You could buy beer, and beers were like $8, which is kind of reasonable for a rock show. And I just got them to put it in, to fill that up with it. And my beer stayed cold. It stayed ice cold for the entire time. So I got about 3 beers, and I didn't have to drink them. When they put them in the plastic, you have to drink them quicker, because once they start getting warm, they taste like horse piss. But I could just sip it leisurely while I was enjoying the Romantics opening for Rick Springfield. I sipped it leisurely, ice cold the entire time, so I had about 3 of those. Anyway, Rick Springfield was again fantastic. He does this thing where he walks through the crowd. This time he was walking through the crowd doing a song called Human Touch, which American Heartbreak cover, which I was just playing for you. And he walked right behind me, and he lost his balance, and he fell right into me. He was actually shaking my hand as he walked by, and he lost his balance, and he fell right on top of me, and I grabbed him and held him for probably about 15 seconds. I didn't hold him, like hugged him, but I held him up for about 15 seconds. What a fanboy moment that was, man. A great time. There's actually a Rick Springfield cruise you can go on. A lot of my friends go on these metal cruises and Monsters of Rock cruises. I've had friends who've gone on Kiss cruises. The guitar player for Featherwitch, whom I'm going to practice with right now, is actually going to be playing on a Monsters of Rock cruise with some band. I don't know which band. Shark Island, I think, is the band he's going to be playing with, I think. Anyway, a lot of my friends go on these rock cruises and metal cruises. Not me, man. If I'm going on one of those cruises, I'm going on the Rick Springfield cruise. Can you imagine being stuck on a ship full of middle-aged women? There's probably less than 20 men on this entire cruise. That's probably including Rick Springfield's band and crew. Could you imagine being stuck on that ship for like 4 days with nothing but women, and you be a single dude on this boat? Man, if I go on a cruise, that's the cruise I'm going on, man. Oh, these women after they and the cruise is Rick Springfield performing the entire cruise. He's like doing acoustic shows, concerts, Q&A sessions, sitting by the pool, meet and greets. And what a good time that would be. There's actually coming up in November, there's a Rick Springfield getaway in the Bahamas. I think it costs like $2,500. And it's 4 days in the Bahamas in a hotel. Nothing but Rick Springfield. I think he's got some other groups play. I think Terry Nunn of Berlin and maybe a couple other nostalgia bands are playing. But other than that, it's all Rick Springfield all the time. A hotel full of nothing but middle-aged women on their girls' weekend off to worship Rick Springfield. And let me tell you, Rick Springfield and his crew can't be with all those middle-aged women, so somebody's got to pick up the slack, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Although I am married, but, you know, I'll bring the wife and we can have a threesome. All right, no, enough of that. Well, happy birthday to one of my favorites, Rick Springfield. I'm going to play a song from Rick Springfield's new album called Rocket Science, which, like I said, is a surprisingly good, it's actually not surprising to me, but it might be surprising to you how good his music actually still is. The guy consistently puts out albums, and they are consistently good. This song is not the best song in the album, but it's just the first one I grabbed, then put it into Boss Jock. This song is called Down. Thank you so much for listening to my ramblings on how great Rick Springfield is. I've actually done an episode called The Greatness of Rick Springfield, where I just try to convince people how great Rick Springfield really is. And most rock fans, if they are real rock fans and fans of a good song, they already know the greatness of Rick Springfield. And the guy's an underrated guitar player too. So here is Down from Rick Springfield's latest album called Rocket Science. Happy birthday, Rick Springfield. You're 67 today. And Michael Butler, the Rock and Roll Geek, loves you, man. You know how to reach me? Find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. Find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek. Don't ask. Area code 706-621-ROCK. That's area code 706-621-7625. Or you can record an MP3 and send it to me to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Find this show at rockandrollgeek.com. Here's Rick Springfield. We will talk to you tomorrow, friends.
Down to the river and black, feeling like you're drowning again. It's as real as a heart attack. Up there like a mountain you stand. Your body keeps remembering when, but your soul keeps fading to black. And I know that you hurt, you're betrayed inside. I wanna be there when our worlds collide. Down, I'm never gonna let you down. I wanna be the one who stands his ground. I wanna be that man. So low, you never felt so
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.